Greetings, I'm Mabel, and I've recently turned 30. A substantial inheritance came my way, unveiling the unsightly aspects of my husband. Today, I'm eager to share this tale and how, unintentionally, I found retribution against two individuals simultaneously. Let me commence by delving a bit into my background. I grew up distanced from my grandparents, yet our bond remained strong. Every 3 to 4 months they would visit, showering me with affection. My grandmother was particularly fond of me, and her passing when I was 17 left me devastated. Choosing a college in her state allowed me to stay close to her. It was there that I met Toby, my ex-husband, during our junior year. Our relationship flourished, and we got engaged after graduation. While waiting for financial stability to tie the knot, Toby moved in with me. Though our relationship was solid, his sister Julia became a constant source of strife. Despite living in another state, she maintained an unhealthy obsession with Toby, harboring resentment towards me. However, I tolerated her antics due to her bringing over her daughter, Viola, whom I adored. 3 years into our engagement, Toby and I decided it was time to marry. The celebration was joyous until, 4 years into marriage, two significant events unfolded. Firstly, my beloved grandmother passed away, leaving me heartbroken and inheriting a substantial fortune. Secondly, Julia and her family returned to town, causing Toby's attention to shift. He spent most of his time at Julia's, and when at home, Julia became a frequent visitor. The only solace was spending time with Viola. I was still grappling with the grief over my grandmother's passing, and Toby seemed increasingly distant. Attempts to discuss my feelings with him proved futile until one rare evening when he returned home alone after work. "Hey sweetie, how was your day?" I inquired, seizing the opportunity. "It was pretty good. What about you?" Toby replied, his nonchalant demeanor evident. "I've noticed you've been visiting Julia quite often. What's going on?" I ventured. "We're really close and I miss her. I just feel better around her," he explained. Sensing an opening for a deeper conversation, I probed further. "Do you want to know what we talked about?" I asked, hoping for a connection. "Yeah, sure. Tell me," he responded. "I mentioned our plan to buy a house, and Julia was curious about how we could afford it. I shared about your inheritance, and she thinks it would be a great investment for us," Toby revealed. Interrupting him, I stated firmly, "I never agreed to that." "Listen, Julia thinks it's a wise move. We'd be well settled for the rest of our lives," Toby argued, seemingly more focused on the financial benefits. "I have other ideas for my money, things that could benefit both of us in the long run," I asserted. Tension escalated as Toby insisted. "I want to invest in a house. We should do it together." "I don't want to spend all my money on one thing. I get to decide how to use it," I defended my stance. Toby issued an ultimatum. "Either invest our money in something for both of us, or I'm leaving." Perplexed, I questioned, "Where would you go? Are you okay with leaving me over money?" "You're the one making it about money." "I thought you loved me and wanted a future together," he retorted. Realizing the disconnect, I held my ground. "I'm keeping my money, and I decide how to spend it. But if you're leaving over this, it's your choice." Toby distanced himself after our confrontation, spending even more time at Julia's. She stopped visiting, except to drop Viola off. Something felt off, and I knew I had to stand my ground. Every time Julia needed me to babysit Viola, I attempted to have a conversation with Toby about what was bothering him. Despite my multiple inquiries, he consistently brushed me off, claiming that nothing was wrong. Eventually, I gave up, deciding to wait until he was ready to open up. However, the situation took an unexpected turn when Julia dropped Viola off at my place one day for me to babysit. "Hey, Viola, how's my favorite niece doing?" I greeted her. "I'm your only niece, but I hope I'll always be your favorite," she replied. "Of course you will be. Anyway, what do you want to do today?" Viola excitedly suggested. "I was thinking we could go get our nails done and then get some ice cream." "Yay! Can I paint my nails pink?" she asked. "Of course you can. And can I get strawberry ice cream?" "Why can't you?" We'll get you everything you want. I only have one niece, and if I don't spoil her, would I really be her aunt? Viola sweetly declared, You know you're my favorite aunt. I really will miss you. Miss me, sweetie? What do you mean? I'm not going anywhere. Are you sure? Yes, of course. Where do you think I'll be going? Well, it's just that. What is it? You can tell me anything. I swear I won't tell anyone else a word. Viola hesitated but finally shared, Okay, well, I heard Mommy and Uncle talking the other day. Uncle, as in Uncle Toby, yeah. Mommy said she's going to help Uncle with getting some cases. Cases? What are you talking about? They kept talking about some cases that would give them some money. Then she told her uncle that he would have a nice big house after he left you. What? Oh my God, sweetie. When did you hear about this? Well, I heard about this like 2 days ago. Are you sure you heard correctly? Yes, I'm sure that I heard correctly. As soon as Mommy saw that I was listening to them, she yelled at me to go to my room. She also told me not to tell you anything about her talk with her uncle, but I only told you because you're my favorite aunt. Thank you so much, sweetie. Now, enough of this. Let's go out and have a fun day. I did my best to carry on with the day as if I hadn't heard Viola's revelation. I could tell she felt bad for telling me, but I assured her that she did nothing wrong. After enjoying the day, when it was time for Viola to go back home, I made her promise not to tell her mom or Toby about our conversation. Viola promised and hugged me goodbye. As Julia picked her up, panic began to rise in my chest. I sensed something was wrong with Toby, but the idea of him trying to manipulate me into spending my money on him was a new low. It was something I would have never expected from him, so I took the only course of action I could think of and called Toby's father, Edgar, who happened to be a lawyer. Despite the potential suspicion that Edgar might be involved in Toby and Julia's plan, my gut feeling told me he was a good man. Edgar had always treated me like a princess and consistently put Julia in her place whenever she tried to bully me. Edgar answered the call in his usual amiable manner. Hello, darling. To what do I owe this phone call? Hi, Edgar. How are you? I asked. Oh, I'm doing quite well. What about you? He replied. I actually don't know. I called because I need your help, I confessed. My help? What could I help you with? Isn't Toby around? Edgar inquired. He is, but he kind of is the problem, I explained. Oh no, I always told that boy to treat you right because it's really hard to come by women as amazing as you, he sympathized. Thank you, Edgar. You may be the only one in your family that thinks of me as amazing. What are you talking about? Well, I was babysitting Viola the other day, and she told me that Toby and Julia were planning something against me. Against you? What do you mean? She didn't know the specifics, but there is a case involved. Apparently, they plan on taking money from me. What in God's name are you telling me? I also don't know what's going on. I'm worried, and I figured I'd come to you for help, considering you're a lawyer. You did a great job of coming to me. Now tell me, do you believe Viola? I do, and only because in the past few months, Toby has begun to draw away from me. I tried to talk to him about it, but he never took me seriously. All right. And why do you think Julia is involved? Ever since she moved back, they began to spend a lot of time together. I get it. They were living far apart for years before, and it made sense. But then, in the past few months, he was going over to her house for hours every single day. That's a little weird. Did something happen a few months ago that triggered Toby's strange reaction? I got my grandmother's inheritance because she passed away. It was quite a large amount of money. Toby wanted to use it to buy a house, but I was a little hesitant about it. After that, he's been acting weird. My guess is that they're going to try and get your money. First of all, I'm so worried that my children are doing this to you. This was not how I raised them. Secondly, why don't you drop by my office tomorrow and we'll hash this out properly? That sounds great. And you have nothing to apologize for. You're clearly a good man. Thank you for helping me out. I don't know what I would do without you. I was genuinely grateful that Edgar was helping me out. I did not think he would side with me over his children, but I was glad that he did. The next day, I took a day off from work and made my way over to his office. Once there, Edgar apologized once again for Toby and Julia's actions, but I told him to just help me navigate around this. We figured that Toby was going to ask for a divorce, so the first order of business was to contact all the reputable divorce lawyers in our city and ask for advice. This would then limit Toby's access to good lawyers because there would be a conflict of interest, considering they already knew my side. The next thing we had to figure out was how they planned to take my inheritance from me. Fortunately, I had the foresight to keep my inheritance money in a separate bank account, refraining from using it for any purchases for Toby or myself. While I initially intended to buy Toby some luxury items he desired, it became evident that such plans were unlikely to materialize. Edgar and I suspected that the only way for them to access that money was through outright theft. With this in mind, I decided to set up the perfect scenario to catch them. My apartment already had a top-of-the-line security system due to my concerns about break-ins, a fact Toby was aware of and agreed to when he moved in. The next step was subtly letting Toby know that my bank details were stored on my laptop. Creating a facade of bank troubles that he could help me with accomplished this effortlessly. Lastly, I informed Toby that I would be meeting a friend over the weekend, leaving him home alone. Meanwhile, Edgar would serve as a witness and corroborate my alibi. During our conversation, I received a notification that money had been transferred from my account to our joint account. Seizing the opportunity, I promptly called the police to report the unauthorized transaction. Upon my return from meeting Edgar, Toby sat in the dining room, urging me to join him. "We need to talk," he asserted. "About what?" "About us?" I questioned. "Okay, we're not working out," he admitted. "I agree. What do you mean?" I responded. "Well, for starters, I didn't like how you threatened to end the relationship over money. I would have spent on us had you not done that. I didn't think that you would. That's another point. You think so lowly of me, and I don't think that's a sign of a good partner. It's as if you've been a good partner. You've been selfish since the start, and I only put up with it because I love you." How in the world was I selfish? I helped you pay off your student loans first instead of mine. I supported you for a whole year when you didn't have a job. I sacrificed so much to make sure you were happy. The few times I didn't do what you wanted, I became a selfish monster to you. Don't act like what you did was some righteous thing. I would have done the same for you. Would you? You never helped me out when I was sick. Why would I think you would sacrifice your comfort for me when I really needed it? You're just trying to make me feel bad. No, and the last reason for not wanting to be with you is that I don't want to be with a lying, manipulative thief. What are you saying? Don't think I don't know about what you and Julia have been planning. I observed you transferring funds from my account to our joint account. I'm aware that you intended to split it during the divorce. Don't bother denying it. I've informed about everything. You've proven to be deceitful, and I see no reason to remain with you. Well, I'll still get half of what I transferred into our account. I still win, Toby argued. If I recall correctly, I had security cameras installed in my apartment, and you made that transaction from my laptop at a time when I wasn't at home. I've already reported you for theft. The police should be here anytime soon. You did what? Oh, here they come. Good luck. I'll see you in court. The relief I felt at finally seeing Toby held accountable was unparalleled. The subsequent weeks were filled with courtroom sessions and evidence reviews. Alongside the theft charges, I filed for divorce, with Edgar serving as my lawyer. He fought vigorously to ensure that Toby paid appropriately for his crimes, and Edgar won the case. Toby was sentenced to 2 years in jail and fined an additional $30,000. The taste of revenge was sweet. As Edgar and I celebrated our victory, Julia approached, conveniently absent during prior trials, only showing up on the day of the verdict. Her anger was evident as she pointed her finger at Edgar. "Dad, you were helping this witch. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't have helped Toby." "I don't know, because she literally put your brother in jail, and he deserved his sentence. That will make him think twice before trying to steal from someone again," Edgar responded. Julia questioned, "How could you do that to your own son?" How could you do that to your own brother? I retorted. Don't think I didn't see the real reason behind your plan. You were going to help Toby get the money so you could also reap the benefits of it. I was trying to give him a break from this jerk. You have no idea how toxic she is for him. I don't think she was the toxic one, Julia. You were a bad influence on him, and he was stupid enough to fall for your little game. He's getting the punishment he deserves, and maybe now he'll think twice before ever listening to you. You know you're going to lose him this way. He will never talk to you again, Julia stated. Good, because I have no children, as far as I'm concerned, Edgar replied. Don't be so dramatic. I'll be here, but I'm not happy with the way you treated my baby brother. As far as I'm concerned, neither you nor your brother are my children because I know for a fact that this is not how I raised my kids. What are you talking about? What I'm conveying is that I'm disowning both of you, and I want nothing to do with either of you. You can't do that. Actually, I can, and I'm going to do just that. This is all Mabel's fault. If she just thought of someone other than herself for a second, this would not have been happening. No, you should not have been so greedy. I was going to spoil Toby with all the things he wanted, but you had to interfere. You took away everything from him, and I hope you sit and think long and hard about what you did to your brother. Goodbye. I grabbed Edgar's hand and we left. We couldn't help but let out a chuckle at what had happened. I was happy that Toby got what he deserved, and that I was going to be free of his manipulative ways. I was also happy to see Edgar take my side. I did feel bad that it was because of me that he had lost both of his children, but he assured me that it was their own decisions that led to that. I took him out for coffee after, and we've maintained a good friendship ever since. Julia harassed me a bunch over text, and Edgar took it upon himself to tell Julia and her husband to leave me alone. Now this is where I unintentionally got revenge on Julia as well. You see, Julia's husband had no idea about Julia's involvement in what happened between Toby and me, so he called Edgar and asked him what happened and was shocked to learn about what Julia had done. Apparently, their marriage had been in the dumps for a while because of Julia's constant nagging that he never brought home enough money while simultaneously refusing to work. He did not like that she would go to such lengths and asked for a divorce. Of course, he also asked for full custody of Viola and managed to get almost full custody. Julia got custody for every other weekend, not to mention she didn't get much through that divorce either, considering that he had her sign an ironclad prenuptial agreement before marriage. Julia only received a small amount of alimony for a set period, and she was kicked out of their house. Once again, she blamed it all on me, and if I'm being completely honest, I was a little happy to see the way she got what she deserved. She tried to meddle in someone else's life, and she paid the ultimate price for it. Not to mention, I got to see Viola still because she loved me, and Julia's ex-husband could not say no to Viola. He was very apologetic for what Julia did, but I reminded him that he had no idea, so he had nothing to apologize for. And before you ask, yes, I am spoiling Viola senseless. As for me, my life is only getting better. I got a promotion at work and also decided to hire an accountant to help manage all my finances. I had invested my money in a few places, and it's only a matter of time before I get my returns on those. Getting to where I am today took a lot of struggle, but let me tell you, the view from where I'm at is one that I'm loving. I have a better understanding of people, and I'm going to be a lot more cautious. Thank you for your time.